So, going off of the success of Contra Operation Galuga, it's are you guys planning on any DLCs, whether big or small?
Um, it hasn't been decided at this point. I know what I would suggest, um, for some DLC ideas. Um, but
What will that be?
it's,
If you want to share with the
I can't,
class.
I can't share. I
Oh
can't share.
no, top secret.
I mean, there's probably more music in it,
Oh hell yeah.
but it's all kind of up to how the game does, how it sells, and then Konami would open up discussions about what they would want, and
Of
we could
course.
present that. So, yeah, if, everybody get your friends to play the game.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, nothing's off the table. It's definitely possible. So
With with that in mind, I'm very appreciative that we even got a Contra game, and it's been a long time. Like I think that's something that gets stepped over kind of easily, right? There's always these comparisons when I go through comments and forums. There's always comparisons, and I'm like, look, Contra's evergreen. It's solid. The basis of it has withstood for like 30 plus years. We've put in some sprinkles in there, and we're happy with it. I'm enjoying that we even got one. Is there something that you put in there for longtime fans and secrecy to enjoy? Obviously, like for me, like I said before, the roller skate guy from Hardcore. That's a deep cut.
it's I mean every little thing. Uh, the Kimco design was another thing where like I didn't have a boss for that stage. I laid out. We knew when we'd have to fight Varanus, da 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 da,
Yeah.
and then they said Big Fuzz could be in it, and I was like, well then let's get Kimco. But then they didn't want the same design, so it was like coming up with a really cool new
Really
design that would
interesting.
still, I hope, feel like authentic, but like really cool and interesting for fans. Um, and that just came out of various concept art, and I literally someone drew a thing, and I was like, he's cool, and this one's tail is neat, and what if we put those together
Yeah.
and then turn the tail this way? Like, so it was a really fun creative process with a bunch of Konami caring about Contra, um, Wayforward obviously caring about Contra, and then different me being an old school fan like yourself, and then different team members who have maybe discovered it through working on it,
Okay.
having their own like, well, I always like this thing. It's like, well, then let's get that in. But things for fans.
The
I
Kimco
mean,
design was super cool. Like even like the second phase of it when it's upside down and it reveals its face, I'm like, that's Kimco right there.
and it's good. Like something like Kimco. I'm trying to make a mental note. I had one more thing I want to get to, but things like Kimco is like, and also stage 7 and 8. There's like a little fake out in stage 8, um, where it's like, okay, it's a remake, and so the first half we have to meet your expectations. You've got to fight a wall. It's got to be somehow cooler than the wall, so you're happy. We got to fight Grimaides the waterfall alien. He's got to be
Yeah.
somehow cooler, and then we stick the heart in stage 4, and that was very deliberate because
Mm-hmm.
I wanted. That's where I want you to be like, you don't know what's happening yet now. You had 3 stages of knowing what's happening, and you kind of understood what stage 4 was, and now I wanted you to kind of doubt that you knew how the game would unfold.
You got me good.
So that the good, because I wanted fans to be like, oh, there's new stuff. It's not just a different game. It's like I am going to be surprised. And so then it was like, where does Metal Alien show up? Da 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 da. And so Kimco, you don't know Kimco's going to show up. You don't know that it is Kimco until like you mentioned the reveal, and you're like, oh shoot, Kimco's here. Um, and so I really wanted that, and again, I've been watching YouTubes and stuff since day one. I've been watching, and I either watch the whole stream, or if it's really long, I jump to certain points.
Yeah.
And Kimco's a point, and Metal Alien, and it's like I just want to know if that hit, and it's great to just see it hit. And um, like the Game Grumps were playing it and being, having a great irreverent Game Grumps time, right?
Hmm.
So I'm not expecting the hardcore Contra experience from them. I'm expecting like two guys on a couch. But then they get to Gordia on the train, the robot, and Aaron's like, "It's the guy. That's the guy." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" It's like the guy. He's a robot, and he jumps. He's a dumb guy.
Yeah.
It's like every level of Contra fan I wanted to hit. So it's so fun to see that hit. But then other things that we put in for fans is like Probotector and I
Gotta
won't
get the
direct
Europeans in.
the hidden characters. There's
You can
Probotector
say
and
their names.
I
Like,
know, I know.
all right, if you're not gonna
Maybe
say
someone
them,
doesn't know.
I won't say them.
Um, one hidden character in particular, but for Konami, Japan, it was like why they didn't push back. I was like I would really love to get these two characters in the game, and they didn't push back, but they were like, really? Why? Like who? Why Probotector? I'm like, you gotta trust me.
Yeah.
Europeans are gonna be so happy to see Probotector in this game, and I'm like, he's not unlockable like Contra 4. I want him. We've got the story structure. We start with Bill and Lance, but arcade mode has 4 players. I want Probotector to be those other 2 players.
Hmm.
So you can play as him from the start. And then this other hidden character, you just got to work with me. And there's an NPC in the game that he ties into that was from Konami, and we were like, what if these are the same guy?
Yeah.
And we ran with that. Um, and so again, seeing the fans before the release, we showed Probotector in the first trailer, and Europe went nuts, and America went nuts because he just has this reputation. He's part of the series, but he's like a weird.
Yeah.
He was vestigial, and I wanted to be like, no, Probotector's part of Contra. Here he is, everybody. We're all happy about it,
Yeah. Everyone was
and
like,
everyone
where
got
does he
happy
fit
about it.
in?
Yep. And then all these other comments, people, I think thought they were so shooting beyond the like. I wish this character would be in the game. I hope you could unlock this guy. And I don't think anyone thought it would happen. And so knowing the whole time he was in the game was
Yeah,
like you guys are
buddy.
gonna be so happy.
Yeah, that was such a cool design to say. Even my friend, when we played, he's like, Probotectors in here, like weird Europeans." But he was so happy to see him. He's like, "Wow." And then super small detail, right? They got like Mad Dog and Scorpion on their chest plate, so that was really cool to see. I was like, "All right, that's double service."
That was my touch. That was coming from Contra 4, where we they were Bill and Lance, and everyone knew that and back by Contra 4 time.
Hmm.
But it was like we gotta throw a shout out to Mad Dog and Scorpion, and so we made them individual characters for Contra 4.
Yeah,
And then Konami was like, again, we're starting over. It's just Bill and Lance. There's no Mad Dog and Scorpion. I was like, okay, but
yeah.
like the robots have numbers on them, right? So we had to fit that in. So that it's just a great shout out.
Cool. For the last part of this, I did a little like community shout out post to see if anyone wanted to put out some questions out there, like fan and community, because great minds get to get more people involved. Kind of going off of the character one, where like people requested characters. I hope I'm pronouncing these names right. By the way, I'm horrible at this stuff. Kitsamu says, if you would have any crossover character as a guest character for Contra, who would it be? I think I know the
Uh,
answer.
Sparkster, the Rocket Knight.
There we go.
Um, he not okay. I love Rocket Knight.
Yeah.
When I was at Konami, I produced Rocket Knight 2010.
Hmm.
But more than that, the producer of Contra from 16-bit onward was Nobuya Nakazato. He produced the Rocket Knight games. So with Shattered Soldier, he started like crossing them over. So he put Sparkster in a special ending
Hmm.
of that game. And then when I did the Rocket Knight game, I put Bill in that ending. And I really hope to continue that Operation Galuga, and it couldn't happen. But that puts Sparkster at the top of my list.
Oh, there were plans for a Sparkster reference.
Only in my head. It
Okay.
never got out of my head because again we had much bigger goals with the game
Yeah.
that were more important. But I just had to like it would be neat if we had a minute. No, we just never had a minute. But
There, I mean, there's. I almost feel like the fans know that like Contra and Gradius have a lot of crossover. A lot like the enemies, the Gradius. I don't want to say too much, but yeah,
And it's true of Operation Galuga as well, you could say.
yeah,
There's some Gradius tie-ins, yeah.
yeah. Impulse asks, where are the stage 2 and 4 bosses? If you remember, one of them was like a double vision. I can't remember their technical names. Double vision, and then the eyeball guys. Were there thoughts of like putting them in different aspects or not?
Um, I consider the stage two boss still represented in our stage two boss. It's a little more esoteric than most of our bosses, which are
Okay.
like directly the same character. But I think if you look at the destroyed computer boss that shoots lasers at you
Mm-hmm.
in NES Contra, I don't think we're that far off with our stage two boss. So
Yeah, I would say that's very good. Um, Christian Rodriguez asks, what inspired the final boss, and where did it come from story mode? So you kind of touched a little bit on this with like the heart. And if I'm putting my
yeah,
2 cents into that question, I thought when I first faced it, I thought it was Emperor Demon God Gava, like the guy from Contra 3. But then you look at the achievement list and it's Java, that big old neck guy from first Contra.
so where that came from was again we were setting up the heart fake out. We had the alien hive stage 7, uh, and then we go to Veronis's ship. And it's so hard. People are so savvy. People have played a million games and seen a million movies to do a fake out. There's more to this stage than you thought.
Mm-hmm.
But with Contra, there's always the gross alien stage at the end. Sometimes it's inside an alien, sometimes it's a hive.
Mm-hmm.
And so this let us give you that before the ship. So it really feels like, well, I'm going to fight Varonis in the ship, and he's the villain. He stole the thing I want. It's right there in the background.
Yeah.
Um, but and this is me. Anyone who already knew this is going to think just a big dummy. But when I was replaying Contra NES for this game, I finally realized the neck guy that's behind you.
Oh,
You kill him, and you running right is supposed to be going into his body. You're
what?
inside the alien in an 8-bit sense. And then, so then I'm like, okay, we wanted to be inside of a giant alien. Um, we kind of had some ideas how to get there. I'm gonna have him eat the ship. And then I just pictured again the iconic side view of him from Contra NES that's behind you.
Yeah.
And it was like, just give him hands in a ship. And it's now we have the visual like call out to the fans of, oh my gosh, it's the neck guy, and he eats you, and now you're inside him. So that all just came together at once.
Very smart.
And it
Very
was like,
smart.
that's how we get in there from the ship. That's perfect. And so then it was just making sure we could model him, and then we designed the final battle where you're back outside of him. And then it was, well, how do you get outside of him? And then we came up with the heart again. You run up to the heart, and you're like, well, I already beat this. I guess this is true to the original game.
That was a good fake out.
And then there's a fake out, and you end up outside of him somehow, and it's grow. And this is one of the things where people saw the early footage from the first trailer where it's not even aliens yet; it's just the jungle,
Hmm.
and they're like, "Well, this isn't gonna get." I like Shattered Soldier because it's gross. This isn't gonna get gory and weird. This is the
Gotcha.
like, well, okay, but like stick around. It might get gory and weird. So I hope that the Shattered Soldier fans are a little happy with stuff like that.
Yeah, I feel like those guys are the most hardcore ones out of the, the franchises.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool to see. That was, and then of course the true. Well, I shouldn't call him a true final boss because he's not locked behind any difficulties. But when you see him, I think I got to record him when I'm like, oh crap, he's back. It's him. Like I was like, that was the last guy I expected. Um, kind of going that like, so you beat the game. This is kind of a general community question. I feel like, and anyone who's waiting for what's next for Contra, you get the ending, right? And it's a cliffhanger. You're kind of leading up to this, and there's a big subtitle that we all know any, I'm not sure how much you could talk about it, but, and obviously Konami has to get the financial backing for this. So go out and buy Contra. Any, are we expecting like Contra 3 and hardcore mashup like we got with this a little bit, where it was a little bit of a little sprinkle of everything?
Um, I don't want to say too much because if that happened, it would obviously start with Konami. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and again, again assuming we were involved, we'd work together like we did on this game, and it would turn into whatever it turned into. Um, but from a very like prototypical like what's in Tom's head, yeah, this is Galuga's kind of the 8-bit, and then I would think that 16-bit becomes the fair game for the next one, only because then fans are like, what's the next one? Like, are are we jumping to the future? Are we
Yeah.
doing something we've never seen before? And personally, I'd like to do something we've never seen before.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
but um, but yeah, it's up to Konami, and it's exciting. And since we're spoiling stuff for hardcore fans, if you listen to the musical cues and the endings, they all tie into their respective games from the subtitle you just mentioned to also the hidden character teaser. They all
Yeah.
have little musical moments. So like every, we were making sure all departments were working to tickle the nostalgia, I guess.
Yeah, it all came together as excellent piece. Honestly, most fun I've had with a Contra game in a long time. Even with the demo, I had a blast. I mean, what? I mean, this. I don't want to sound like I'm just being like a yes man, but like, I don't. This is my words. Rogue Core left me wanting for more, and this is exactly what it hit. It hit all the keynotes. We have your basis of Contra with, you have your pyramid, and then you have building up new stuff. So I think you, Tom, and the Wayforward team did an excellent job. I had fun playing it. I have 37 hours in it. Um, I'd have more if my backlog wasn't so big, and I gotta get to other stuff.
There's a lot of other games that came out right at the same time.
Yeah, I'm still going for that extreme ultra mode. I just got to get a little bit more practice underneath my belt. But I want to leave the floor to you and put your plugins, whichever you'd like to say. So go right ahead.
Um, I mean, thanks for to you and all your listeners and other players like you that you are now representing to me because we're talking face to face.
Yeah,
But like, thanks for trying the game and playing it and giving it a shot. And I'm glad that it hit all those notes we were aiming at. That's really satisfying. To the whole team, we're all watching streams and um, probably less so now because we're working on various other projects. But we were watching all the streams the first month, and we love just seeing you guys excited about all the different things, and also um, me and the designers love seeing people like develop their own strategies and like rethink when the hardcore players go from like I beat the game without overloads to like here's my favorite overloads. It's like yes, you
yeah,
got it. Like you had to be more challenged to need them, which makes sense. But like it's so good, it's very satisfying, and uh, yeah, keep playing it. Recommend it to your friends. Um, we're going to be updating it and fixing some bugs, and like I said, improving some various things. So
heck yeah,
I'm sure those will all be announced on social media, so people will see them and can check it out. But just thanks so much, and I hope we can get more people into the series and into the genre because like I guess that's my end point is Contra was most of our introductions to run and guns. Run and gun as a genre is not super prolific anymore. Um, and so the whole team is very proud to have brought Contra back as like a messenger of the genre again and being worthy of like,
absolutely.
no guys, this is why you want to play this. So
I
yeah. So
mean,
thanks so much.
yeah, I mean, Contra, I feel like is the granddaddy of the genre. Like so many, like we have so many other franchises of the genre, like Metal Slug, huge inspiration, right? So thanks again, Tom, for taking the time. Hopefully, if another one comes out, we'll hopefully have another conversation about all this kind of stuff. So thank you
Hope
very
so.
much for your time and the good work at Wayforward.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. Bye bye. Thanks.